Hey guys, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. So we have a Q&A session today, and so we have some questions from you guys that you've submitted like previously. So we'll start from those, and also please comment below whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. I think we're live on Facebook and on YouTube now. And hey Hamza, hey, I'm here often. I don't know. I don't know who is that. If you just let me know the name. Hey Edward. Hey Mister. Hi guys. And so yeah, we'll basically start from the questions that you guys submitted previously, and then as if you have any questions specifically today, we'll cover Facebook ads inconsistencies, some of the things you can do to tackle those. That's quite a big one, so we'll definitely handle that one. Hi Raymond. Coronavirus, definitely we'll touch on that as well, so will be an amazing call. Thank you guys for joining. So we'll start with some of the questions here that been submitted by you guys. So my question is about UGC, which is user-generated content. How to get video reviews from your customers so that you can use them in ads? Very, very good question. So it's easy to get reviews from customers. So all you need to do is, let's say, if you are selling, let's say you have like 100 or like 200, 300 orders in your store. Typically, you can identify if there are certain like people that have purchased, let's say, 2 items, right? So these are more kind of like qualified buyers. So you can pretty much just get in touch with them through email and just ask them to create, like you can send them like a free product, or you can give them like discount or the next order if they create the content with your product. That's very, very simple. So the main thing is just to ask people and to show them the examples of the content that you want to create. A lot of people would gladly do that. And if you establish business, if you have like, let's say, thousands of customers or tens of thousands of customers, then it's even easier because you can segment people, let's say people who've purchased like more than 2 times. So people who are pretty much your best customers. If someone is buying from you more than 1 time, those are your best customers, repeat customers, and those are more likely and most likely to provide you those reviews. So you can just get in touch with them, ask them to create like a piece of content reviewing your product, and that's it. Obviously, some people decide to just buy these like reviews about the products on Fiverr. There are like certain providers. I don't recommend that because it's not real. It's best to get those from your real customers. So we have here another question. So how do you manage campaign that ROAS is going below your break-even ROAS? It was profitable at the beginning, but still has 1 or 2 profitable ad sets. Would you kill it or let it run? As long as it's profitable, if it has like several profitable ad sets, I would still keep it running. If it's like fully dies, so the way I measure it, it's like pretty much if CBO, like on average, on kind of like on total, is profitable, then it's fine it's fine to keep it. It's fine to keep it running. As if it's like totally unprofitable, then you would just kill it. So the way you can also approach, and that's even like simpler, let's say if you go on the ad set level, and you can see that in total, like for example, with all of the ad sets and everything, if campaign is profitable, then you just keep it running. And what you can do, and that's what I've been mentioning a few times for you guys. Like if you have the campaign, like CBO campaign, let's say you have only 1 or 2 ad sets in it, right? So pretty much it's almost like died. So what I would recommend is to test basically adding new ad sets into it. Obviously, a lot of people will say that it will like reset the learning curve and stuff. But in my experience, like it's best, like if campaign is dying anyway, and that campaign has a lot of data, then you can utilize the data, just add new ad sets into it. Pretty much a lot of the times you will see that campaign will still perform for a long time. And this is in some of the accounts, this is exactly how we run the CBOs. So Eldon Sue is asking, do we need to increase our budget for warm campaign as our retargeting audience grows bigger, and if so, by how much? Very good question. Just measure just monitor the frequency. Like in frequency, for example, if you cannot hit like even like 2x, 2.0 basically impressions for frequency for warm campaign, then I would add some budget to it. And so how much, it would depend on, let's say if your budget for a campaign for warm acquisition like $100, then I would just add like $50 and then see how it would perform. Eddie is asking, I have 200 purchases, 500 ATC and so on. I have tried 7 lookalikes and then never performed well at a 50% daily budget daily per ad set. What seems to be the problem? The product. So 500 add to carts. So what I don't see here, right? So this is the way I see it. Let's say if you get like 100 clicks to the website, then I would want to have like I use 10 as a kind of like a benchmark, 10% add to cart ratio. So if people, let's say, add product, like out of 100 people that visit your website, if 10 people add product to the cart, then it means it's a good product and people kind of like progressing to the funnel. If you have like a big drop off on the add to cart level, then it means something is off with the product. Like people don't want the product, so there's something is off on that level. And so lookalikes might not perform for you because the amount, the size of the audiences is not sufficient. With some audiences, sometimes there are thousands of people in the audience and lookalikes still do not populate and do not perform well. So what I would test, basically, so you got to this level, from what I understand, to this 200 purchases with your interest. So I believe you can still, you can still do very well with interest. So what I would do is like, I would still continue with interest. As long as you're profitable, just continue to, get it like to 1,000 sales with interest only. Like, I mean, you can get to tremendous results with interest, and then experiment with lookalikes. If you don't get strong lookalikes from purchases, test lookalikes from like view content, test lookalikes from Instagram page engagement, and from different, from different like lower level events in your funnel. Bruno is asking, hi Alex, how do we prevent the product from dying out? You cannot prevent it. Eventually it will happen. Like every product is dying sooner or later. What happens with products, like they typically go in cycles. So product dies, and then let's say like 6 months, after 3 months after, like, it would work again and it will sell effectively. So that's just normal thing. You get the most out of the product, and then it will die out. It's the same as with, let's say with even with iPhones. Like, people buy the iPhones and then, they get this initial like spike in sales and people buy them less and less. And then they launch another one. They launch another model of the iPhone and people buy again, and then it goes in cycles. So always goes in cycles. It's totally normal. Aranas is asking, how would you advertise a niche store? Video with multi-products inside, carousel or picture? I will try 3 variations. I will try 3 of these, see which ones get the best results, and then identify, okay, so if certain products are selling much better than others, then I would focus the content creation and production around those particular products. So use kind of like, initially it's like at the beginning it's always testing. So once you identify something that's working, just allocate more resources in that direction. Should I put minimum ad spend limit in new ad set because the other one has already been optimized? So Facebook will spend towards a new one as well. Yeah, you can test that out. How to do dynamic creative testing? I mean, it's very straightforward. It's on the ad set level. You just turn on the dynamic creative testing. In terms of some of the things to remember about dynamic creative is that you can test, obviously, as like many variations, like 20, 30 different variations, but you have to remember that you need to give it sufficient budget. So let's say if your product costs, let's say like $40, and you can spend up to like $30 to get a sale, you need to give like every variation like sufficient budget to properly test them out. So let's say you have $30 to get a sale, your like goal CPA. Then with this structure, it will take you. Let's say you have like 5 variations. So like let's say 5 variations of the creative inside of the dynamic creative campaign. Then ad set. So you would want to have at least like so 30 like basically desired CPA multiplied by number of the variations you have. So it will be $150 per that ad set. So that's ideally, right? You know, you can definitely do less. You can do like $20 per that ad set, $50, $100. But just remember that to give it sufficient data, because if you don't give it sufficient data, that you know, Facebook needs to allocate sufficient budget for every variation to learn faster. It will just take you much longer. So how much budget do you recommend to start a brand new cold traffic campaign? If you had 1-2K to start a campaign, how much would you allocate the budget over different phases of the campaign optimization? Very good question. So cold campaign, typically 80-90% of all budget. So that's pretty much the simple answer. Now the more complex answer is that, you know, some products are more expensive than others. Let's say if you're selling the product it's like $200-$300, then you might need to allocate more budget for retargeting. So pretty much you would just you know, your cold acquisition would serve as a more like awareness, and then you would like allocate more budget, 20-30-40% for retargeting, hitting people with different angles and just like retargeting, you know, the most out of that audience. So that would just be different for different products. So wow, we have so many we have so many questions here. All right, let's start from here. Talk about dynamic creative testing. Yeah, I just mentioned about the budgets for dynamic creative testing. So you need to give it sufficient budget. Every variation that you have would need to have at least like daily you know, CPA. So in that case, let's say if your desired CPA is like $30, you need to give, and you have 5 variations in dynamic creative, then you would allocate sufficient budget for each. That would be $150 a day. What is your experience with, Bakhtash is asking, what is your experience with products that do super well one day and not so well the next day? How do you break through and make a consistent product? At the beginning, it's totally normal, because, you know, like Pixel is learning, your account is learning. So that's totally normal, as long as, let's say, an average in less like 3 days, you're profitable, or you're at least like breaking even, then it's, you know, you just continue advertising. So those inconsistencies will happen. Why inconsistencies are happening is because, like, first, like Facebook is still learning, right? Second, you have competition. You have, you know, other people that might be advertising same products, very similar creative. So you have that factor. And also at any given point in any like specific audience, let's say you have like an audience of 1 million people. So if you're optimizing, let's say you're optimizing for purchase. So Facebook will not show your ads to 1 million people, it will show your ads to 100,000 people. And out of those 100,000 people, only so many of them are present on Facebook at any given point. Only so many of them are willing to buy stuff at any given point. So pretty much you have this limited like pool of people. And Facebook first will try to show your ads to people who are most likely to convert. And you know, so they'll show it to people who are most likely to convert. That's why at the beginning you get those like low, basically low cost events. But then it's, you know, it's out of those like cheap events, and it has to you know, get those conversions somewhere. So the cost, it will get you like more expensive events. That's why your CPA like goes up, and that's why it's inconsistent. And so every audience has its limitations. The audience that has the least amount of limitations is the audience that has no targeting or huge big audiences like 20, 50, 100, 200 million people. Those audiences are the most scalable, but those audiences will work only with products that have like broad appeal. So like fitness, health and wellness, like weight loss, skincare, those type of interests, those type of products. Do you create a duplicate of winner ad sets in another campaign when you have some winning ad sets and creatives, or start scaling the old campaign? Very good question. Both, right? So that for example, you have like a good campaign that's well performing, so you just increase the budget of the campaign. So you can try increasing the budget by 50% a day, like that's. But on the other side, that's more like trickier part, because that might destabilize the campaign. So the campaign that was previously performing might stop performing. So what you might want to do is just duplicate it with a bigger budget, and basically duplicate it to another campaign. So that might be like safer solution. And then you would monitor both campaigns. If you see the original one has stopped performing, then you would just kill the original one. So you just monitor by the metrics. Can you recommend a good supplier agent in China? Yeah, definitely. I'll share some of the good suppliers with you. You can get in touch with them. Let me. Let me just type it here. And so there are some of the suppliers that you can get in touch with. Should you exclude dropshippers' Facebook page admins to prevent people from copying your ad? You will not avoid people copying your ad, because if people will not see your ads on Facebook, then they'll simply see it in using tools like AdSpy. So you cannot avoid that. You will only also have that. What you have to think about, like to eliminate the competition, is basically having some sort of like competitive advantage, right? So either, for example, you are making more profits than other people, so with your like strong funnels. So if you have like multiple upsells and good like upsell structure, you're making more profits. So in the competitive auction, you'll be more competitive because you can spend more on acquisition and still beat your competition. Then that's one of the ways. Another way is to pretty much like brand the product and have it like pretty much sell it as your own brand. At the end of the day, you'll still need to have a good funnel, because it will come down to like how much can you spend to get a sale with Facebook if you're competing with other people. And obviously you have other channels. Let's say if you've done well with Facebook, maybe you can diversify and use Pinterest, you can use Instagram influencers, you can use YouTube, you can use some other channels if you want to eliminate your risks or lower your risks with people competing with you and copying your product. Pinterest is a very good channel right now, so if you want to take a look and pretty much replicate what you do, then you can definitely test it out. Then if I receive 3% and up in click-through rate, all means something, or do I have to focus on click-through rate link? Click-through rate link by itself, it's not like the most important metric. It just tells you how people resonate with the product. But even if you have like click-through rate of 3%, 5%, 10%, it doesn't mean anything by itself. Like what means and what matters at the end of the day is ROAS. Like for example, some of the products that we do, like let's say they might have like click-through rate of 1% or 1.5%, but they're highly profitable, right? So it doesn't matter. Like we try to hit like as high click-through rate as possible, but it is not the only metric that kind of like matters. So like what's more important, if you look at it at that perspective, what you need to evaluate is, let's say if you're driving like 100 clicks to your website, or you're driving like 1000 clicks to your website, how many people out of those are actually converting? So what is the conversion rate on the website? That will be like bigger kind of like criteria, the bigger sign of whether you have like a good product or not. And then if your website converts, if you're getting like, let's say you're sending 100 clicks to the website and you're getting like 5 or 10 sales, let's say, then it means that, you know, product is resonating with people. Then you can work on improving, you know, the ads and creative, like sourcing new angles. So but you have to get a proof of concept that the product is actually selling. That's the most important part. Okay. How about your experience with rising CPC? Bakhtash is asking, rising CPC, my campaigns are still performing amazingly. However, with my product, CPC has increased from 50% to 80% over the last few days. These fluctuations are normal. I don't know what volume you are doing. It could be that, I don't know and how many creatives you do that. Yeah, okay, so yeah, do you think that's due that Facebook is looking for fresh content, or their platform is running this creative at 2K ad spend daily for 2 weeks now? Okay, yeah, so you spend like $28,000. That's pretty like decent ad spend depending on your niche. For example, if you are like in weight loss, in skincare niche, I mean that won't like saturate the product. But if you're like in smaller niches, and also if you have other people basically copying your product, copying your ads, then will be, you know, it will be basically, you know, you might look for new creative. So CPC is, you know, is again, it's not the major metric, but yeah, the way you're analyzing it is definitely right, because you're seeing the trends where it's going. So you definitely need to source new creative and, you know, test out against the original one to find the new control. Or do you think that's because Chinese New Year is over, more people are advertising? Yeah, it could be more people are advertising. I mean, you know, people are advertising always. So yeah, I would definitely test new creatives. It will help. Like, creative helps to expand the lifetime of the product. More people advertising, but still there is a coronavirus. So it's not like full force. So I mean, the competition and everything, that would depend on your particular niche. So you would have to take that into consideration. But I would definitely refresh the creative, and I will try to get the most out of that existing product. And also, if you had success with a particular angle, I would try another angle. So for example, if you've been selling, I don't know, some specific gadget for grandmas, then try to position that product as a product for moms, or for parents. Kind of like think about different angles that you can attach to your existing product. So that will allow you to find like new buckets of people that can buy it. Long ad copy versus short ad copy, which is better? I mean, for e-commerce, probably like short ad copy. I'm seeing like, pretty much the best results come from like short ad copy, and then the creative that explains the product depending on the complexity of it. More like visual content than less copy. Then for more like coaching information products, the longer ad copy works because you need more explanation. So pretty much the thing that you are selling is the information, so you have to give more explanation on that. What's the best resources tools to track funnels in order to understand where my customers are dropping off? Very good question, Francisco. So in terms of like tracking, you might use funnels with analytics. So you might want to see like how your customers are dropping off on different stage. Shopify. In Shopify, you can see kind of like what percentage of people are adding to cart, what percentage of people are initiating checkout. I mean, their analytics are decent. And obviously Facebook, but Facebook is not perfect because like sometimes add to cart is just exaggerated, so it would show you like thousands of add to carts, or it wouldn't show you the proper amount. So ideally you would use like Shopify to understand that, and then pretty much make decisions based on that. How to start a new brand ads, brand awareness reach, or straight to the visitors, straight to the purchase, straight to what you want people to actually do. Like brand awareness, I mean, those are like reach, those are typically not very impactful objectives. They are impactful, for example, for businesses, like for Coca-Cola, right? Because people know Coca-Cola, it just reinforces the brand. But for new brands, you have to focus on what's actually matters for you. If you're looking for sales, then you optimize for sales. If you're optimizing, if you don't have sufficient data to optimize for sale, then optimize at least for like add to cart. Then after 100 events, optimize for purchase. So kind of like optimize for what's most important to you. So Benjamin is asking, hey Alex, I'm using PayPal as EU company, causes extra cost of 2-4% of my net profit, knowing that. Do you still recommend having PayPal alongside Stripe? Absolutely, Benjamin. So like if let's say you get like 2-4% of your net profit, but then you get, let's say, 10-20% extra in in sales, right? So it pays for itself. And also like in some countries, like in Germany, for example, I don't know what markets, seems you might be from Belgium or Netherlands. So I don't know how about Netherlands and Belgium, but for example in German market, like PayPal is huge. PayPal is like I think like 50-80% of the sales might come from PayPal. So you definitely want to keep the PayPal, and all of the like limitations. I know that there are a lot of like limitations. PayPal can limit your account, can put your account on the reserve and stuff like that. Even considering all of that, it's still worthwhile to keep PayPal on your website. Okay, so Adam, hey Adam. Adam is asking, what do you think about putting a full-length video in an ad as opposed to a click-to-see video? I see this is an awesome strategy to reduce CPA. Yeah, definitely. So, for example, we've tested this in it's an information product, and it was like 20. How long was it? Like
30-40 minutes.
Yeah, 30-40 minutes. And so like 30-40 minutes video in the ad, and it was killing it. My scaled like worldwide. Very nice. So yeah, that's and then from there we would drive people to the directly to the sales page, right? So this was the offer. It was $47 offer, directly to the sales page. So yeah, definitely test it out. So do you put the post IDs of winning new creatives in those assets which you were scaling? I mean, probably I wouldn't touch, like ideally I wouldn't touch the existing assets. So if they're running smoothly, if they're profitable, then you can always test like new creatives inside of the new assets. So I would definitely do that. My daily cycles. So I'm an amazing value, best content YouTube. Thanks, man. I have just opened new business manager, and Facebook only allows me to open one ad account. I need to spend more money to open the other 4 ad accounts. Yeah, you need to spend some money. You need to like show to Facebook that pretty much you're a trustworthy advertiser, that you're not advertising anything that's against the policies, and then they'll get other ad accounts for you. And then like, so when you do that, when you start advertising, reach out to them on support and ask them to add new accounts to your business manager. Yeah, Benjamin said yes, you need to spend around $10-20 and pay the bill. From that point on, Facebook allows you to open the other 4 ad accounts. Thank you, Benjamin. Have you started your ads back up? Yeah, we reactivated the ads now. Roughly, what should I say in the order confirmation email to alert the customer about shipping delay? Just say them that unfortunately, due to some logistic issues, your orders will not be fulfilled like on time, and offer them some incentive, offer them something to compensate for the time that they've been waiting. So you can do this with with order confirmation email. Definitely give them, for example, 10-20% for the next order, and give them the option to cancel their order as well. So for example, if you have customers that are like very unsatisfied, it might be better just to like cancel the order until you ship them, and so that's but you have to give them some incentive. You have to give them, okay, so sorry about the delay, we'll ship your order, there will be like a delay till you receive your order, but we will give you like a gift card, or we'll give you some like free gift with your purchase. So when the purchase actually comes to them, you have to include something in that order, something inexpensive, but something that has perceived value to compensate them for their time. Thank you, Bakhtash. So thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate your insight and the time you give to us. I can explain how much your YouTube channel has helped us in our business. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. A man is asking, do you have 2 campaigns for targeting cold audiences, one meant to test audiences and creatives and other meant to scale? Yeah, you can structure it that way. So there are 2 ways to structure that. One is having like 2 campaigns for cold audiences, one for testing and one for scaling, and also you can have it all in one campaign. But this way you need to have like a proper like naming conventions. So when you basically break down the data and analyze it and see what's working, what doesn't, then you can easily understand it. But yeah, 2 campaigns is totally fine. Whoever is asking, Facebook consultant recommended me to create extra top of the funnel with traffic campaign to then retarget them. Never worked with me when I tested in the past. Do you recommend it? Man, also tested it and didn't work for me as well. Do not recommend it, no. Traffic campaign, typically the traffic quality, you will get a lot of clicks. Those will be like cheap clicks, a lot of clicks, but not necessarily the people who will buy from you. ROAS on those are typically very low. Ryan, how do you use cost caps for scaling? What are best practices for it? Very good question. So once you have like a good proof of concept, once you're basically profitable, and you want to just get more conversions within the same audiences, you can use cost caps. And what I would do is like I would just use your goal, basically goal CPA as a benchmark. Like use start from that as a cost cap, and then if you see that you're getting impressions and everything, you can basically just lower the cost cap and see if you're still getting the conversion. So you start, let's say you can spend $20 to get a sale, then you start with $20, and then basically just lower that cost cap, or just leave it running. I mean, if you're profitable, then you would just like leave it running. So that's totally fine. So US only. Okay, so I think Benjamin, you mentioned US. So you're selling in US. I'll definitely still have the PayPal. PayPal in US, it's like from 20 to 50% of the orders, depending kind of like what age range, kind of like what segment of the population you're targeting. So I would still leave it on. Do you recommend to skip the cart and redirect the visitors to the checkout directly? We tested it many times, and I would recommend to test it out for your own store. Because like every store is different and every kind of like product, so depending on kind of like what product you're selling and also what countries you're targeting, what payment processors you're using, so that would be different. I mean, I would definitely test it out. And one of the things, like when you have it, let's say when people add to cart, so a lot of the stores, they have, let's say people add to cart and there's nothing happens. There's just like it shows that it was added to cart. So you need to have like it's either with the menu, like would show up on the site. You can set it up in Shopify settings, or it would be actually redirected to the cart, because otherwise you'll have very big cart abandonment ratio. So Joseph is asking, high CBO versus ABO for new store. I believe they'll make like CBO permanent. I've been told like it's 27th of February. I don't know if that's right or not. It's been delayed several times, so we'll see. So if that's the case, then CBO becomes like the only option. What has the most influence, ad, account, or pixel? Very good question. Both. I mean, it's pixel. Very good question, Jimmy. So both are important. So I mean, from overall perspective, probably like ad account. Some ad accounts just like perform very well. Yeah, I would say like ad account from this, if you would choose between these two. And then on the campaign, on overall like level, like campaign has a lot of learning that pretty much if you put like new assets, that's why I mentioned to test adding new assets instead of the existing CBOs, because campaigns, like, they maintain the learning, and pretty much you're not starting from scratch, but you're starting from existing learning that has already been accumulated. Adam, yeah, shout out to DFO, baby. Yeah. Was nice hitting your office. Thank you for a warm welcome. What do you think about competition between campaigns? You want to keep it as simple as possible, right? Like overall structure. Let's say let's say it's like a general store. You have multiple products. Then you simply would have the like one campaign per ad set, one campaign per ad set. Obviously, there will be overlapping some of the audience. One campaign per product, one campaign per product. So there will be overlapping. It's you cannot avoid it like 100%, but that's you need to structure it that way. So best strategy for scaling a product which is starting to work. So best strategy is like to let's say you have like 5 interests that work well, just to find more interests that work well, right? Like accumulate that data, then create lookalikes out of those, right? And obviously you test different layers of lookalikes. I have a video on my channel somewhere about the lookalikes, how to scale up with lookalikes. And so basically that's the that's the way to go. And eventually you want to test, let's say you're testing like $10 budgets or $15 or $20 budgets, then eventually you want to test like $30 budgets per ad set. Or if that's campaign optimization, that's CBO, then you want to test like 100, then you want to test 150, 200. You want to keep the structure of the campaigns as simple as possible. You want to have as less campaigns as possible with bigger budgets. That's the most scalable approach, and that will allow you to spend as much as possible with as less kind of like manual work. Cool. All right. So should you go to lookalikes, and what lookalikes should you use in the beginning? Yeah, very good one. We have the training on that. So We find like the engagement, page engagement, Facebook page engagement lookalikes, Instagram engagement lookalikes are very good. The add to cart lookalikes sometimes outperform the purchase lookalikes. Lookalikes from the most valuable customers; those are just killing it for most of the stores. Um, People who like, for example, people who purchase like more than 2 times lookalikes out of that audience, or people who purchased for higher than average amount lookalikes from those audiences. Those um, those type of audiences I would definitely test. Benjamin is asking, Alex, do you use 100% satisfaction guarantee on all your web shops? Yeah, I mean standard, like all of the standard trust badges. Garrett is asking, when is CBO only coming? End of February. That's what I've been told, like 27th of February, but as you know, like it was delayed already several times. So I'm not certain about that. That's what I've been told. But we prepare, like most of our budgets run on CBOs now, so it's nothing kind of like, there will be no kind of like big shift for us. And if you haven't, guys, if you want to like learn CBO strategies, then it should be a link somewhere where you can check the CBO strategy. So I show inside of like real accounts, basically how we structure everything, how we test, products, how we optimize, how we scale. So pretty much like everything that you can replicate for yourself. And also if you're looking for help with the, with scaling your business, with more like personalized feedback and help, then there should be a link somewhere. We'll post it if you want to apply and work with me and my team. So when should you go to lookalikes, and what lookalikes should you use at the beginning? I think that's the question I just answered. Lookalikes, you should go, I mean, ideally that would be after 500 events. Minimum is 100, but I would recommend after 500 to 1,000 events. That's when they start becoming like very effective. Yeah, so Aman, we have the training on that, so we'll share it in the chat box. What do you think about Google Shopping search ads? Recently, I see much better results and higher consistency. I mean, definitely, if that works for you, use it, scale it as much as possible. Those are great platforms. I mean, Facebook kind of like covers one part of it, right? Where you can take someone from, not knowing your product and like not, not being like in a mood, or not kind of like searching for your particular product. You can educate them through your video and kind of like change, basically take them through your sales process. Google Shopping and search, they have a bit different agenda, where people are specifically looking for something. But I mean, if you can get the most out of it, do it. Those are great platforms. Best, one sec. Do you have any special recommendation for SaaS advertisers? It's kind of difficult to make clients convert from Facebook ads to subscription sales. Yes, it is very difficult, and it is very expensive. And what you have to, the way I would recommend you just think about this is, like Russell Brunson, that's kind of like, I think he's figured out it the best, from like out of everyone in the software space, because they're selling the software with information products, and they're doing it in a way where it's like profitable on the front end. So what I would do if I were you, like let's say you are selling, I don't know what kind of like software you're selling, but let's say you're selling the software for people who do let's say marketing. So I would do like, okay, so how we can get, and let's say your software can get results, people can get like, I don't know, better results with their I don't know, Facebook campaigns, let's say. So then you would create like an information product that would explain the main concept that people need to do and comprehend and get results. And then as part of it, you would just, sell your product. So for example, some of the things that people would need to implement, they would need your product for it. So that's I think that would be like the simplest way to acquire customers for your product. Otherwise, you just need some other like front end product, and then use your software as like one click upsell. So when people are in buying mode, then they can just buy it with one click, or you would offer like a free trial, and you would need to figure out like how to become profitable on the front end with all of the recurring kicking in. So, but definitely I would go in that direction. Oh, SaaS for diets. Oh, very good question. So for diets, I mean, there's so many information products you can create. The best, like three best, diet, or how to get like you cannot be very specific with results. But for example, one of the information products we've been running was the like 30-day challenge on pretty much like losing weight and reducing the weight, and that's done very well. So anything can be sold on the back end of it as a product, as a software, but the front end needs to be something that informational, that because trials by itself, like it's very, very hard to sell. So what budget would you suggest for CBO to exit the learning phase, and will that help a lot? I mean, CBO, like learning phase, it's kind of like that's what Facebook uses to kind of like make some edges, between different stages of the campaign performance. Budget would depend. The best budgets would depend on your specific account. Like for example, what we see is that, let's say we're using like $100 or $300 budget per CBO, and it might be like campaign might be highly profitable, and then we might want to try, let's say, like $500 or $1,000 CBO, and it's not profitable. And it's not about the learning phase. Like for example, the fact that, let's say, your campaign is in a learning phase, it will not like suddenly stop performing after it's like ended the learning phase. After those conversions, Facebook accumulated those conversions, it will not suddenly start performing like extremely well. In my experience, like campaigns, ad sets on Facebook, we see many different accounts, and we talk to a lot of advertisers, and we train a lot of advertisers. So campaigns are either performing from the start, or they do not. So I would pay attention more like to initial metrics. After like even like $100, $200 in ad spend, you should be able to see if campaign has some potential, if your product has a potential. And I would focus more on those metrics than on the learning phase. So I would kind of like disregard the learning phase. So kind of like I would just focus on the metrics and specifically how your product resonates with the market and whether it sells, because that's the most important. Hamza is asking, what do you think about competition between campaigns? I think that question was submitted previously. Yeah, they overlap, and that's why you want to have as less campaigns as possible. But overlap is normal. There always will be some overlap. But you want to have as less campaigns as possible. For cold traffic, top of funnel, what objective do you use for awareness stage? For awareness stage, purchase, always purchase. Yeah, pretty much like most of the cases it's purchase. You're just optimizing for what you want to get out of Facebook. So Facebook will give you people who are most likely to purchase. So that's what you're optimizing for. When breaking, I know there like some people like they preach, for example, having, let's say, like traffic campaign and then retargeting those people, and then or using PPE on the front end and then retargeting those people and having few layers of retargeting, or video views campaigns and then retargeting video viewers. I mean, I haven't seen that work like personally, but you know, if you want to give it like a test and test it out for yourself, that might work. For example, if you advertise in a specific area, like let's say you have like a 1 mile radius around your, you know, your let's say your location or something, you want to advertise in that area, then you can definitely utilize different objectives, because if you only optimizing for purchase or for lead generation, then you only get so many people within that audience. But if you're optimizing for reach within that audience or video views, then you can definitely collect some good audiences out of that. So that would be more like on a local level, not on the kind of like on a bigger level, in my experience at least. A man is asking, when breaking down data and find that a certain age group gives best ROAS at this point, if split out winning the asset, would that won't it compete with the original asset? It won't. It will always compete. You know, in some level, it will always compete. So, but you would definitely wanna like target that age group more, right? So in new ad sets, you would allocate your targeting to that group, and also you would adjust your messaging to that group. So let's say if you know that people like 35 to 45 buy the most of your product, then you would use your avatars, models, like all of the kind of like advertising resources and messaging would be adjusted to target that particular audience. So kind of like according to the data, you would adjust your message and make it kind of like match with that particular for that particular audience. What is a good CPM in US? That depends, but like $10-15 up to like $10-15 is quite normal. I see some people getting like $5 CPMs in the US, some people getting $20 CPMs in the US. So CPMs kind of like, it's good metric to see, for example, if your account is not flagged, or if they're like if there's like not anything that Facebook punishes you for. But overall, as a kind of like the main metric to optimize for, it's not the best metric to optimize for, but it will definitely give you some insights whether your message is resonating with the audience and whether your message resonates. Yeah, so I've received a message that we received over 100 messages today. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for watching this and commenting and asking questions. Thank you very much, guys. Fariz is asking, Alex, how do you get an increase on your ad spending limit? Mine is stuck $50 a day and it's so bad. I mean, it should be raised. Like if you have if you are paying your bills with Facebook, then you should just reach out to support. Also, in some countries it's more difficult than in others because Facebook trusts, some countries less than others because of a lot of, fraud. So, and also if your business manager, for example, if it doesn't have the business information, the business address, the business tax ID, then it will be more difficult for you to get the ad spending limit higher. So I would recommend to kind of like fill out that information, so Facebook can trust you. Facebook can say, okay, so this is legitimate company, they're selling, they have like tax, they're paying taxes and everything. So in this case, and then reach out to support and just bug them to increase that ID for you. What do you think about short description and no reviews? Impulse buy focused. Jimmy is asking, what do you think about short? Yeah, definitely. So if you have like low ticket product, just short description, and just go with I don't know if you mean the ad copy, like short ad copy, then it is. How will you test if they make CBO compulsory on 27 February? I mean, very simple structure. We have some of the testing structures in our training, the CBO blueprint. You should find the link somewhere here on the chat. So when they will make like CBO compulsory, pretty much we'll be just doing very simple structure, like 5 ad sets, let's say $100 per day. Interest that we want to test, then 3-4 creatives in each one, very simple structure, and then see whether any of those ad sets, if they're like overspending, if they're not profitable, we would kill them. If not, would continue running them and just identify which interests are resonating better. So very similar structure to the very similar structure to the ABO. Okay, so all right, so Albert is asking also, when scaling, if I test ad sets that I eventually duplicate and scale on CBO, should I stop testing ad set even if it's still profitable? If I don't, wouldn't be competing with my own auction? Yeah, I mean, for me, like the way I see it is like, if you're profitable, keep it running. Just monitor the metrics, because if that like overlap becomes too big, then you might like stop being profitable. Just monitor the metrics, and you should be good. As long as you're profitable, like keep advertising, keep spending until you're profitable. So I have an LLC in the US, but EU debit card, will that harm my account? So what you can do is that, like if you have like a LLC, I mean that there's like mismatch, and obviously Facebook will trust you less. If you're able to advertise and you see like good metrics and everything, that's continue to advertise. There is a bank, like fully virtual bank in the United States, where you can get the debit card. And so, you can utilize that, but then probably you'll face the difference in conversion, like kind of like currency conversions. But you can get, it's called Mercury. Like I'll share it with you guys here. It's basically like a bank that was the bank that is. Let's see if I put it here. Share it here. So banks that's like fully remote, you can create like your account, and you can source the debit cards. They can send it to you, and then you can utilize for your advertising. When you create multiple creatives for testing, then your aim is to find new angles, or you are testing small things like this line in that copy works better than the other one. Mostly like the first like 5 seconds of the video, so more like new entry to the video, or new angles, kind of like bigger ones. You can definitely, I mean, this line in ad copy, probably this like very like specific like testing that you do. Most of the performance will come just from the creative itself, either like new video, new image. Thumbnails make a big difference in performance. So yeah, that's what I would focus on first. What's the most optimal ad frequency in a week? The profitable frequency. So as long as it's profitable, I mean, if it's obviously if it's like hitting like 2x frequency, then you know that you're pretty much hitting the same people. But I mean, as long as you're profitable, so then you want to either expand your audiences, or you want to like add some new creative. So you're hitting people with some new creative, so they're not as there's no like creative fatigue. But as long as you're profitable, keep advertising. So tax question: what steps should an EU company with stock in US and selling to US customers take in terms of sales tax? No info on this anywhere. Very good question, but I'm not qualified to give like a tax advice. If you want, Benjamin, if you want to like, I can connect you with my accountant in US. Like you can ask them these questions, and they're qualified to give you this information. Yeah, just get in touch with me somehow, like either through the website or through my email, and yeah, I'll shoot you introduction. I'm getting this learning limited on the ad sets. Active instead of active and learning, but it's not affecting the performance. This is new. What does it mean? Yeah, if it's not affecting the performance, keep advertising. Keep advertising. These are new introductions from Facebook. That's how they segment the different like ad set that come into the learning phase, but you didn't have to. I mean, you didn't have to. If you're profitable, keep advertising. Don't even pay attention to that. Make it profitable, make money, and that's a number one priority. What is the attribution window that you recommend with CBOs? 1-day click or 7-day click? I would. So very good question. I would test. Lately, I'm seeing like 1-day click works well. So, but this changes from the account to account. So I would recommend to test both of these. So this, for example, you have like 2 campaigns, similar structure, similar everything, but you would have like different conversion, different optimization, and you would just see which one performs better. So another question is, my personal profile has spent more than $30,000 on this BM, and I still don't have this Facebook support chat option enabled. Band profile, I had it very early. Yes, the support option, Facebook support chat option, it depends on the profile. So what you can even do is you can try to add your like friends or family to your profile, maybe as advertisers or like editors or admins, and then see if they have this support, because different profiles for some reason have it. Like some profiles have it, some profiles don't have it. So I would recommend to add someone to it and then test it. You see it from their side, like logging into the Facebook from their side, and then have the you might have the that option. All right, guys, we'll have to wrap up. And so, thank you for all of the questions, guys. I mean, thank you very much for joining this call. Very exciting to have you guys here. Very good questions from you guys. Again, if you're looking for help with CBO campaigns, because CBO becomes mandatory, so there should be a link somewhere so you can get the access to our CBO training. Then also, if you have if you're looking to get like personal help with scaling your e-commerce business, then there should be also a link where you can apply to work with us. So yeah, if you're looking for any help, please just fill out some of those, and we'll help you out, guys. Thank you very much for watching, guys. So awesome to see you, to see your questions. And yeah, I'll see you around. We'll announce the next live call when we have it. Thank you very much, guys.